Australia's birth rate has declined to its lowest ever recorded, to just 1.5. Now, we know that Elon Musk has been warning about the declining birth rate for some time now. The US is 1.62, South Korea is less than 1, and in Japan there were nearly 1 million more deaths than births last year. Now, Rion, it's a huge problem. There are many factors contributing to this, but here in Australia, it really seems as though the great Australian dream of buying a house, having lots of children, it feels impossible for so many young Australians due to the cost of housing, the cost of living, let alone the cost of having multiple children is out of control. What's your assessment?
Yeah, I think you're completely correct. And I actually first stumbled upon this issue exactly how you mentioned it, because I was reading a lot of what Elon Musk had been saying. And at the time, I will admit, I suspected that his concerns were more so about the fact that, of course, he wants, his personal mission seems to be creating an army of mini Musks and populating the earth with as many kids as possible, as we both know. And so I suspected maybe that was his goal. But reading into it, this is not a problem that he has created or brought up for the first time. It's a problem that's been in the news for a while and just seems to be getting worse, with the core example, of course, being Japan. There's terrible numbers coming out of Japan. Last year alone, we had 1 million more deaths than births. And this is something that is not being fixed despite a lot of attempts to fix it. Now, we're looking at Australia, and you're right. I think the core issue is in two parts. There's an obvious part, and I think there's a subtle, more cultural part. The obvious part is if you go to any parent, or I should say any want-to-be parent, and you ask them about their chances of owning a home, having somewhere safe to care for their kid or child, or even being able to financially provide for a child. These are very expensive things.
Yeah.
They'll more often than not chuckle and say, how is it possible? We can't even afford a place to live. So I think that's number one. I also think, I don't think this will be a controversial point, there's been a change, a shift in culture. I think that culture shift is coming back in the right direction, but there's been a shift in culture regarding children and what it means to have a family. And it's a really core part of a really successful society that people want to have kids, they want to bring them up, they want to raise them to live with the values that they have been raised with themselves. And we're seeing some shifts in our advertising, in our movie, in our culture that are bringing it back towards, but I think that's the second part we really need to look at here.
Look, I agree with you. I hope that there is that cultural shift back, because we want people to have more children. I think was it Donald Trump was saying that he wants to encourage people to have more babies. But look, I want to talk to you about AI. You're a bit of an AI expert, and ChatGPT. We know that young people are increasingly relying on AI chatbots, and it's interesting. Real-time host Bill Maher slammed AI for essentially praising humans during every interaction where it's really not necessary. Take a look at this.
People don't read anymore. They let the chatbot do all their reading for them, and they ask it what's up and trust it's telling the truth, which sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But what it always is a ass kisser. You literally cannot ask it a question so stupid it won't tell you, great question. Can I drink milk if it's lumpy? Great question. Do baby carrots miss their mommies? You bring up an excellent point.
Rion, I think he's spot on here. I think he really made a good point about AI. We are all using it, of course, more and more, particularly younger generations. Are you noticing this among young people who potentially enjoy chatting with their chatbot over interacting with other people?
Well, I don't want to over-exaggerate this, but I think there is no way to. I think this is one of the existential threats that are going to take our younger generation down a few pegs, quite frankly, in intelligence. And the reason I say that is, another example, to add to what has been said, there was a case where a husband asked ChatGPT, I cheated on my wife, but it was because she hadn't cooked me dinner that night, and I felt like she wasn't, doing enough for me. And the agent said, look, you did something wrong, but I can understand why you did it. You had real reasons to feel insecure about your place in the relationship, and you acted out. It's insanity. And so what's happening at the moment is these AI chatbots are being built, as a business person would build an AI chatbot. Let's maximize the likability of these agents so that more people use them for longer. It's the classic game of tech companies. We need more attention, we need more eyeballs, and the way to do that is let's build a product that is going to make you really like it by agreeing with everything you say.
Oh, Rion.
That's what we're seeing now. It's a disaster. And the reason I say it's a disaster is because if you have a generation of sycophants, of AI sycophants, teaching all of us that we are all our own little super geniuses, that we're all somehow special and we're going to be able to change the world, but also that we're loved and everything we do is right, we're going to get these super ego versions of ourselves that cannot stand up to criticism in the real world.
That is a very scary thought. I'm very nervous about what the future looks like if that is the case. Now, finally, I want to ask you about former Prime Minister Tony Abbott, because he's once again been offering his service to the country. The former member for Warringah has been spotted directing commuters out of a car park in Sydney CBD. Now, this video posted to Instagram shows him holding up a boom gate while ushering cars out of the car park. Let's take a look at this. Rion, what's your reaction to this?
Well, politicians and prime ministers in particular, they often have unique post-career stories. Some go into consulting, some go into helping out in other parts, they go into the community. This is certainly the weirdest, I would say, post-career shift that I've seen for a prime minister, or an ex-prime minister, I should say. But in fairness, after the high energy of cats, I can only imagine that you need someone like a prime minister or ex-prime minister to come in and restore chaos in a car parking lot. What I will say is this is one of the great things about our country. This would not happen in America. This would not happen in many other countries where you have a former leader that is so down to earth and so grounded and just built into the community without the security guards around, without the layers of hierarchy and bureaucracy between them. It's just people, former leaders with the humility to say, I'm going to help my community. We need more of this. It's a beautiful thing about Australia. We need it on all sides of politics, and I'm sure this will hopefully inspire some more people and some more leaders to continue to do this sort of thing for their community.
Oh, I hope so too. Well said. Rion, great to speak with you again. Thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour.
A pleasure as always, Gabby.